Just so that you have an idea of how we reached where we are. When we initially moved in the 60s and 70s to this country, didn't have a system in place. We used to get news from India and Pakistan, and according to how the Eid or Ramadan was declared there, we practiced on those informations. After we came a bit established, we for many years followed the Morocco sighting from 1979 roughly. Around that area we started following Morocco. One of the main reasons is the books of fiqh give us the guidance that if you can't sight the moon locally, follow the closest Muslim country, which is Morocco. And fortunately, we'll explain that afterwards, it has one of the strongest systems of sighting the moon in the world. There were some underlying issues then due to the lack of technology. When the information was from Morocco was coming, it was coming very late, sometimes 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, and it would be very hard to notify everybody. Sometimes we were breaking fast and we didn't Eid namaz the following day. So due to these underlying problems, at that time the ulama sat down and felt that we need to look at an alternative so it makes things easy for us. And as an alternative, a lot of ulama agreed in around 1985 that we should start following Saudi as a central place. The issues that we will address with regards to that sighting weren't in the knowledge of most of the ulama and the institutes that gave us permission through fatwa that we can start following Saudi. They only got highlighted once we started following them, and that is why we are where we are at this particular time. So we started following Saudi until 1985. There were a lot of issues during that time with regards to sighting being too early, the information coming when sometimes the moon was not even born or not even on the horizon. So these issues came. There was in a lot of places in Dewsbury, from the very start, a group of people who never followed Saudi, and in a lot of other towns and cities around England. We in Batley in 2007 had our first dispute in October, where we had separate Eid namazes and we had Eid being celebrated on 2 separate days. So that was the initial stage of dispute in Batley. After that, certain masajid wrote letters to IMWS in November 2007 requesting that the masla be addressed through our ulama and looked into so that it can be addressed in a proper manner. So the ulama were asked by IMWS to review the whole situation. More than 80 ulama gathered in IMWS, and they accepted that this whole issue should be looked into, and through the references of our kitabs and the books of fiqh, we should look at this issue and come up with something that can be presented that is practical to follow. So after that, in June, these findings were presented initially to IMWS and chairs of committees and then to the wider public, and we moved from June 2008 to following Batley moon sighting, and we alhamdulillah are currently continuing to do so. So this is in rough a brief history of the moon sighting events that have taken place.